I heard the pop.
We
Okay,
live.
we are. There we go. And come on, play now. Okay, and there we go. Lameez,
There
over
we
to you.
go. Hi. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. It's our Monday night review show of the Arsenal Cape Town Official Supporters Club. Thank you again for joining us. And that's me, Louise Isaacs, your host for the evening. And of course, my co host, Morgan. Morgan, how are you doing this evening?
I'm okay. I think I have recovered from the whatever that was last night. Whatever alternate universe that game took place in. I was watching the morning. I was watching Zack Snyder's Justice League cut, and I think it felt a little bit like the game was a continuation of whatever was happening in Batman's nightmare vision. So yeah, uh,
Well,
Lameez, you did confess something, and you
what did
switched the
I
TV off.
confess?
You
I
switched the
did.
TV off during the game.
I did.
How?
I
Why, Lameez?
Morgan, there's only so much my heart can take. And then, of course, which is the current theme, when it's like, I couldn't. I was actually, it hurt me physically.
Because
Kind of switched off. And then after
yeah,
the first kind of goal, yeah, then it was like on again.
I swear, I told myself the only reason I'm not switching that TV off after 32 minutes was because I knew I had to do the show and I had to pretend to people that I watched the full game, and I'm not that good at pretending. Yeah,
No, I actually, yeah, it's a strange thing, but like physically, I couldn't deal with it, to be quite frank
it,
with you. But
it was.
anyway, yeah, it was quite hectic. But I'm sure, like me, you're quite excited. We've got a special guest this evening who I'm very excited to have a chat with. And of course, I think just the other part is we walked away from a 3-0 hammering, and we actually walked away with a point. We recovered.
Does it
So much to
does
be
it
proud
feel
of.
does it feel like that though? Does it feel like that?
Well, selfishly, I
Yeah,
guess, yes, it kind of does. Yeah, I mean, the truth of it is, how would I have felt if we didn't recover? How would I have felt if we didn't take the point? How would I have felt if we didn't start at our 99th
yeah,
position? These are the questions, I
yeah.
guess.
You could have
But
asked Mark. You
anyway,
could have had to ask Mark what did he think
yes,
of a 5-0 hammering by the Hammers? Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But in any case, so just quickly talking about tonight, I guess most of the show will actually be for us to connect with our special guest, Mark Brindle, who is the supporter La Hazel at Arsenal Football Club. And so, yes, he'll be joining us this evening, as well as our panelists, Brandon Baker Bass. We've got Alex Marsh from the UK, and of course, the chairman of our club, Warren, will also be joining in on the fun. I call it hammer time. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I think that's about it. And then just in terms of the rundown and what we're going to cover this evening, of course, the slight change. We know we're going to start our show talking to Mark, and then I think then we'll move into predictions. We'll obviously Morgan, you're going to cover, which you always do for us in grand style. What's happened in the Premier League? What's happened with the table? And then I think we'll obviously get to chat about what happened in the game, as much as we would not like to do that. But yes, I think we'll have to chat about
We don't have to
we'll
talk
have to
about the
chat.
game too much. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that. And then the normal thing we do, we'll look a little further ahead. We've got a fixture with Liverpool coming up, which you've just heard. The dates actually changed. And then, of course, we've got our two Europa the quarterfinals, the two legs also that we need to have a chat about. So, yeah, I think that's about it. And then I guess just the other heads up to everybody else is we're looking at doing a nice live preview of the Liverpool game, which is, I think, is going to be lots of fun if that is still going to happen.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted on that. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Morgan.
Okay, let me welcome. I'm going to play the music again. I want to play the music
Let's
while
play
we
the
welcome
music.
them on.
Let's
Here we go.
play the music.
Here we go. We gotta dance, guys. We gotta dance. Here we go, Warren. Here we go. Okay. Let me just remove that. Hi. Here we go. So let me just put Mark in the spotlight here. Not myself. There we go. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Morgan.
How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, good. Just come back from my evening walk and sat down to talk to you guys.
That's lovely. And so you sort of, the mind is kind of sharp and focused now. We have a couple of questions. We have a couple of questions we want to ask you about your job and the Arsenal Supporters Club and what that entails. But just quickly, because it was a fun game last night, wasn't it? And I just wanted to a sense from you how your experiences of those 95 minutes.
Like
shock and trauma.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I live in a very strong West Ham area, so it was very important that we didn't succumb to a massive thrashing, because mine and my son's lives wouldn't have been worth living, I don't think. But we're remarkably consistent in our inconsistency, aren't we? So we're even doing it in a match now. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so very stressful.
Yeah. So how loud, if you live in this sort of West Ham enclave, how loud are you allowed to cheer then, or does it cause troubles with the neighbours?
No, not as bad as that. But this is a predominantly West Ham area. I would say that Arsenal are probably the second most supported club in this part of the country.
Out of two.
Yeah. So Chelsea are coming along, but they're just glory hunters. And we've even got a few Man City fans now from somewhere, which has never been the case. So,
from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the first question, guys, and you guys are all welcome to pop in, all you panelists. You're not going to sit there look pretty as usual. You're not just here for us because you're pretty faces. So the first question I want to ask you, tell us a little bit about your job. You are the supporters liaison officer.
Yeah.
So with Arsenal Football Club. So what does that entail?
Yeah. So this role was created really by Arsenal about 15 years ago, really, and Arsenal had been working with UEFA on the idea of creating a role that would engage with supporters. And my predecessor, a lady by the name of Jill Smith, who some of you might have heard of, she still goes to the games these days. Really, I mean, she's known as Mrs. Arsenal. And so she worked at the FA at the time, the English FA, and she came across to Arsenal to do that job. And so basically we wrote the job description, and the way UEFA look at it is that the role of the SLO is to, as much as possible, make sure that all fans attending the game and our supporters in general have as good an experience as possible. Now, we fully understand that mainly revolves around the score. If we get beat 3-0 by West Ham at the Emirates, then people are not going to have a good day. But it's all around the match, home and away. Trying to help people with any issues, any problems, and obviously doing things like when we play the big European games, the big European nights, we do tifo displays and things like that. And when we go abroad, with regard to our travelling fans. So it's the link between the club and the fans in easy terms.
Yeah. Lameez, you've actually met Mark. I don't know if Mark recalls having met you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is
So
that
I just actually want to say, so I mean, for me as a fan, I kind of this once in a lifetime to go to the Emirates. I will say to you, we were treated with like just like real VIPs, and but every time kind of something really spectacular happened, I kept thinking there must be somebody behind all of this amazing stuff. Of course, I got to meet Mark when the match was done, and what a humble person. I mean, you know, you can see that it's absolutely a love for the club. It's a love for everything Arsenal, and I really just want to say, Mark, yeah, as a fan, you know, I'm sure I don't know if often you hear how special it is what you do, but for me, you know, I'd gone with my sister and Alex was there as well. What a special time we had. You know, the work you were doing behind the scenes, everything just went flawlessly, no problem. So, yeah, I think for everybody, probably that is watching that was part of that experience. Thank you. It was amazing.
Yeah, Lameez, it's always a pleasure. And, you know, I really enjoy those days. Sometimes they can be quite stressful in that it's hard to make the players realise at times that just a little 5 minutes from them would, you know, that you guys have come such a long way. You know, we get people from all around the world. And as you say, quite a few people, it could well be their one and only time at the Emirates. And yeah, I just really, and it never ceases to amaze me, you know, where everyone's from and their stories of how they become Arsenal supporters. Just this week or last week, we started a new supporters club in Botswana. So again, you know, you just before that, I never met anyone from Botswana who supported Arsenal. So it was just like you know, crazy when they got in touch with me, and you just it, as I say, it never ceases to amaze me. It's just fantastic, and it shows what, you know, what this club means to people, and also the responsibility that we all have. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's always a pleasure, and you know, I just wish I could do more. But you know, so I'd have you over every match, but you know, but
that's a nice
I
segue.
haven't quite got the budget.
That's a nice segue into my next question. I kind of imagine the time where there were no liaison officers between fans and clubs, and in the old days, the players would be sitting in the pub with the players after a match. Things have changed, and I can only ask this because we're not in the pocket of big TV yet. Although if you know if big TV would want us in their pocket, I'm willingly will jump in there. But I have to ask, how has the relationship changed between the way it was before you guys created that post and the way it is now, especially in the modern context when there is such control of players and communications with players?
Yeah, I think you know, it has changed completely. I mean, I remember going drinking in the pubs around Highbury, and quite often you get players in there, you know, and those times have changed. And in a way, it's sad that you maybe need somebody in my role just to get a little bit of connection. I think as well, because there's so much support now and it's so worldwide, it's all driven towards being online and video and things like that, because obviously they can communicate with more people. You know, it's lovely that we, you know, 30 people from Cape Town stay behind after the game and meet a player. But let's face it, if they did a film, they're going to get thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people watching it. So yeah, that it's a massive difference. But what I have found is when you actually get the players on a one-to-one basis, the vast majority of them, there are some strange ones, but the vast majority of them are just normal guys who've got just a God-given talent to play football. And quite often they turn around to me and say, Mark, you've only got to ask. so it is quite hard to actually get in front of them to ask. But so yeah, as I say, the majority of them, I think, would do more if we could actually get to them. But they're so closeted, and that goes back really to the Arsene Wenger days. And Arsene's principle was that they were there to play football and nothing else. So he wanted them concentrated totally on playing football. So he took away all of that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, here's a question from Leanne Adams, who wants to know who are your 3 all-time favorite Arsenal players and why?
Well, when I was growing up, it was always Liam Brady. I first went to Arsenal in '71. I think it's October or November '71. So I'm coming up to my 50th anniversary, and Arsenal lost to Man City 2-1, and I cried my eyes out on the way home. But I started going regularly in about '76, '77. And Liam was the main man then. And being a left-footed footballer myself, he obviously struck a chord.
Yeah.
And he was just such an incredible player. I think I've mentioned this story to other people, but I was at White Hart Lane when we won 5-0, and Liam scores that curler into the corner, and he ran up to the Arsenal fans, and we was packed behind the goal, and it was packed. I don't think my feet touched the ground after the goal, and he ran up screaming, "Do you want more?" And of course, yeah. So, and but so I seriously thought I would never see a player of his like again. But I've got to say, I've seen a better one since, and that was Dennis Bergkamp. Who is the greatest player I've ever seen live. Although I did see Cruyff once, but he was at his end of his career. But yeah, so Dennis is my all-time. And then I pick one again from the late 70s, early 80s that meant a lot to us as young lads in London, and that was David Rocastle. So yeah, that would be my 3. Yeah.
Okay. Here's a nice logistical kind of question. What's from Ujanda Zatuyurov? My apologies. I think I've just destroyed the poor person's name. So I'm going to just stop there now. What are the chances of meeting and chatting to Mikel after a game? From 0 to 0, somewhere between there?
Well, I think, again, I'd go back to what I was saying. I think Mikel would do it, but the problem is they have so much press work, and Mikel, as the manager, more than anyone, they have to do about 5 or 6 different interviews for television. They have to do the press conference, as well as sort of debriefing the team or whatever. So to get him out would be, well, nigh on impossible. So I would say maybe a 1.
Unless you were a reporter, I assume, unless you were one of the sort of television reporters.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's an idea to become a news reporter. So here's another question. Welcome, Mark. What do you love most about your job? Ask Gail Tim. I hope I didn't mess up Gail's name as well.
Yeah, Gail. I think this might sound a bit sort of glib or whatever, but it's meeting all the people. When I first got the job, being up close and personal to the actual team and getting involved in going to foreign trips and what have you, and my seat is right next to Mikel, and right pitch side, and it's incredible because when they say, "Oh, the players are not trying," you want to sit in that front row and see the physical effort that all the players put in. Is so I never buy that the older players are not trying these days. It is written these days, the speed of the game and the size of these guys compared to the old game. I mean, there always used to be a fat bloke on the team years ago at every club. All these guys now are just ripped, like, and it's so. But the best thing is meeting the fans, even when they're complaining, which is a football fan's sort of default position, I think. We all do it. We all do it. So, but that's the bit I enjoy, and doing things like this, and just talking about Arsenal. I mean, I get paid to talk about Arsenal, so you won't catch me moaning.
Okay, so that relates to. I have another question for you, but that Mark's asked wants to know how can he apply for your job when you retire.
Well, I intend to go. I intend to go to 65. So if you can wait another 7 years, But seriously, if you look on ArsenalJobs.com, they've always got a list of jobs available there. And there's nothing stopping you if you're really that keen, to look out. So look out in 7 years' time. Hopefully I'll get that far if the stress doesn't kill me. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Nazim, maybe when the fans start attending and everyone travels again, maybe you can be a bag carrier or something for Mark. So that's another option. So
I need an understudy.
Yeah, you have to groom someone for the position. So here's an interesting one. Mark, are you part of the Arteta Out clan? We have a couple of members here. We have a couple of founding members, I think, here within our club.
I didn't know there was an Arteta Out clan, but I would definitely not. He's got a plan. He knows what he's doing. If you think back to the issues after Arsene, and probably during the last few years of Arsene's time, a lot of people said, we need to clear out all the dead wood. And I think he's doing that quite successfully so far. I think this summer there'll be more changes. And I think next season will be his team. And he'll have to be judged on that then. But, to come into the job, win an FA Cup in the first year, beating the teams that he did beat on the way through. We are a club in transition. We're not going to win everything every year. I never expected him to win an FA Cup in the first year. So I think he's got to be given time. Obviously COVID hasn't helped. I'm sure we would be further forward if it wasn't for that. There'd be other changes. But yeah, I'm totally convinced he's the man for the job. Young, enthusiastic, and he's a winner. And having met him, he's a top bloke.
See, that comes straight from the Arsenal Football Club people. Some of us were right after all. We have to give the man time. So the next question I want to ask you, it's kind of a two-parter. How big is sort of the Arsenal Supporters Club network across the globe at the moment? And how has COVID kind of impacted the way you engage with those clubs, and especially, I suppose, the clubs inside of England?
Yeah. So now we're up to about 250 branches worldwide now. And when I say branches, that means a minimum of 50 members in each. Obviously, some have got a lot more than that. So some clubs say they've got like 500 supporters clubs, but it's, one man and his dog sitting in the middle of Ireland. It's a branch, so
Warren, that's what we did. I just want to make sure that's what we did here with Cape Town, eh, Warren?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no,
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You're talking about Chelsea and Man City supporters here now.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Yeah. So about 250 branches. And as far as the COVID side of things, it's meant doing a lot more of this sort of stuff, and I think it's the way forward. It's a lot easier to keep in contact with a lot more people this way, so I think that's a lesson learned. With the UK clubs, it tends to be a little bit different in that the vast majority of them are how can I put this? They're more based around ticketing and getting tickets for matches. Which is not what I really think is the purpose of a supporters club. I think it's more what you guys are doing, more of a community, meeting up, talking about games, going to your pub and watching your games and things like that. Whereas the British clubs will tend to base themselves around ticketing. That's not all of them. There are exceptions to that, and they do work sort of community based. But yeah, it's something that we need to work on, I think, with the UK clubs.
Okay. I have a question. Yeah, I'm just going to add this to the stream quickly. Harv sent through 5 questions. But yeah, no, we're just going to ask 1 or 2 if you don't mind. And I like this question that Harv asked. Do you think the club's traditions are being eroded and left behind in the new culture under the guise of progress? And he said he was talking about stuff, the captain choice of match kit, whether everyone plays in long or short sleeves, the mascot, the badge, that kind of stuff. Do you think those traditions are being eroded in the modern era?
Well, I think the club. One of the club mottos is forward. They are always looking to move forward, but that doesn't mean that the traditions of the club need to be just chucked in the bin. The sleeves thing, is a constant bone of contention, and I think it would help if we had a serious captain. But even when they've done the things like say, right, it's all long sleeves today, you've had players cut their sleeves off and wear undershirts and things like that. So I think that's a tricky one. The club badge, we've got to move on. Are we going to go back to the Woolwich days and have the 3 cannons pointing straight up? So as much as I understand why people say about the old crest and what have you, and I agree with them to a certain extent. The cannon as it is now has been there for quite a few years. I was in the original meeting in the fans forum when they presented the new cannon. And we were just told that this is what's happening. There was no discussion with supporters at all, which is, again, something that wouldn't happen now. I remember at the time being absolutely disgusted by it. But, it's just, it's not going to change anytime soon. And they do use the old cannon now and again. I just think we've got to move on from it. It's, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Last question from the fans. Here we go. Craig wants to know, how would you rate Arsenal fans when we're on a losing run or haven't won a trophy in the while? I assume he's talking about Arsenal fans in the stadiums when we're on the losing run or haven't won a trophy in a while.
I would say that we're no better or no worse than any of the other big Premiership clubs. I've been to Anfield when it's been silent. Chelsea is awful, absolutely awful atmosphere. Manchester United as well, very, very quiet when they're not winning. And I think, again, it's a result of today's football and the Premier League. People go to be entertained, in effect. And when their side's not winning, we're just as bad as everyone else. And when we're winning, we're just as good as everyone else. So I think it's a bit of a myth that Arsenal fans get beaten up about this, in effect, that they seem to, have this. People seem to have this impression that they're more fickle than anyone else. But I can assure you, my opposite numbers at the other clubs have exactly the same problems. And I don't know what the answer is. I think part of it is that the average age of the crowd has gone up through the years. That could be down to ticket prices, etc. You can't just roll up on a Saturday at 5 to 3 anymore and walk in the ground. So it's more of an effort. So younger people are not attending games in as many numbers. So you don't get that vocal support. And sometimes I've been there on a wet Tuesday night, and we're playing Stoke City, for instance. No, I'm only saying that because they're not in the Premier League anymore. But the crowd is not going to be up for it because they expect Arsenal to win. But if it's Arsenal Spurs on a wet Tuesday night or Arsenal Liverpool, then they're going to be up for it. I don't know what the answer, how we improve that, but unless we get more younger people in the ground, I think.
Okay, we don't have any younger people here on the show, but I do want to ask our not so young fans, how did they respond? At least we can get a sense here of how did they respond to yesterday's game when we were losing for the first 38 minutes or so. Warren, what happened in the Van Schoor Smith household yesterday? Warren, you're on mute. I think he's on mute.
Sorry about that. The first 30 minutes you said, eh?
Well, 38 minutes. I think that's when we scored our first goal.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I started making my single Jamesons, a triple Jamesons. I started pouring the whiskies a bit heavier. That was number one. And then number two, the first half actually went by so quickly, to be honest. Before I knew, it was like the ref was blowing for halftime. But there were some, you as a supporter, you've gone through so many highs and lows in previous years, and when things go that bad that quickly, you kind of, and especially that early in the game, it's a human nature thing for your mind to go back to some of the more darker days when we took hammerings, and you kind of thinking, oh no, is this going to happen today? And you obviously don't want it to happen, but there was a very positive response towards the end of that first half, and that laid the foundation for one hell of a second half. It was all end to end there. It was an exciting game for the neutral, but for an Arsenal supporter, the heart rate is a concern.
Yeah, Brandon, I know we were all chatting on WhatsApp at that stage. The temptation to switch off the television must have been strong.
I actually had more dangerous intent yesterday. I actually was going to smash the TV. And
man.
Lucky.
It's a good thing it's up so high.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I actually just walked away. I said, I'm done with this. Oh, what's happening? And when we conceded so quickly, I was like, oh, we're in for hiding. I told you guys, I should be getting an absolute drumming here today because it's just like the guys look lackluster. There was like absolutely no passion from them. And I mean, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. And I mean, you guys probably felt the same. But nevertheless, my wife, it's a Man United supporter. She was actually more positive than me because my blood pressure was through the roof. I said, I can't. This is unacceptable. And then she said to me, don't worry, you guys are coming back. I said to her, I don't believe that. Not the way we are playing. I haven't seen Arsenal this poor. This is like really poor to concede this quickly. I mean, we haven't gotten hiding in a long time under Mikel Arteta now being the new coach. So, I mean, we normally lose 2-1. So, whatever. The worst, I think, was like a 3-0 or something. But I was absolutely gutted with the performance because it just looked like everybody wasn't on the pitch. They weren't, their mindset was just... but the second half, I have to give credit to its due, though. I don't know what Mikel did at halftime, but I mean, the guys came back and there was a total. I think that goal also, just before the halftime, actually basically just gave us some hope. I think if we didn't score there, we might have lost the game by even more. So, yeah, it was a bit hectic, a roller coaster. And like Warren said, obviously, we indulged a bit too much yesterday, seeing it was a public holiday.
Alex, your thoughts on that? What was your response? Did you go for a walk outside, switch over to gaming, to PS4?
See, I've told you before, I don't tend to pick Arsenal players in my fantasy team. So there's a silver lining, you see. So I've got... although it was dismal, watching us go 3-0 down was incredibly dismal. But on the other hand, my points total was going up and up and up. I got Cresswell in, I got Souček in, I got Antonio in. The points were raining down, and I was going.
You are
terrible, but it's not so bad. It was the silver lining, but then Lacazette Lacazette scored off Souček, and then my points were just going down and down, and then it was Cresswell's points. So, but on the other hand, Arsenal were coming back into the game and it was great. So it was a bit mixed emotions all round, really. Obviously, I prefer Arsenal to win than for my fantasy team to do well. But
are you sure? It
I'm
didn't
pretty
sound
sure.
like that.
Yeah, pretty sure.
It didn't sound like that. Mark, when we scored that first goal, was there hope? Was there sort of a light at the end of the tunnel? Or did you think, that's going to be a consolation goal?
Well, I did consider that it is West Ham, so anything's possible. If you think we have things to moan about being inconsistent, then West Ham through the years have always managed to fall at the final hurdle. So I did have hope, but I would have liked us to maybe got a second one before half time. But I was pleased with the second half, and we played some great stuff. You look about, there's a lot of positives there. Odegaard was phenomenal, I thought. Lacazette probably had his best game for a long time. So there were positives there, but unfortunately, I suppose really getting greedy, I thought maybe we could have gone on and won it, but not quite.
Yeah. I just want to kind of quickly share. Here we go. Add to stream. I just want to quickly have a look at what happened over the past week. Obviously, a couple of results went in our favor. One result specifically, and that was the Aston Villa Spurs game, and that allowed us. And I think Lameez, have I lost money again? Because I keep losing money on the show. It's costing me more. Because I did say we'd be.
You actually said we would be in 10th, and we all scoffed it. And there you go. Yes, I think you've lost.
Okay. I'm assuming that the stay in London at 9th place would be temporary. Brandon, are you optimistic now that we could kind of soar, we can skyrocket out of 10th into 9th and maybe 7th or somewhere by the end of the season?
Yeah, look, I was always one of the guys that was embracing the truster process. When there's other guys that said Arteta out. So look, like I said, like Mark mentioned, also these big plans. I know Arteta has a plan. He's definitely changed the mindset. I mean, other years we would have probably lost 5-6-0 on the day against even West Ham. So the way we were playing, but I mean, something happened at halftime, so you have to give him credit. I think we can probably try and push to end maybe 6th. Well, the games that I look at, the fixtures we have remaining, there is some definite winnable games, but then again, we have been very inconsistent. Like Mark mentioned in the beginning, we basically like the cause. We like I always say every week, or most times when I'm on the panel, is that we're basically the cause of our own demise at times. We make silly mistakes, whether you blame Leno or Louise or whoever. So we just need to try and cut that mistakes out, because we are actually playing a decent brand of football. I can see what Arteta is trying to do. And Odegaard coming in, a lot of people wrote him off and said, he can't even make the starting 11 for Real Madrid. But I mean, we might have a problem if we try to buy him. They might not even, it might be a replacement there for Modric or something for Real Madrid. So, I'm actually chuffed with him. Pepe, I think he should have started yesterday. But like I say, I'm not the coach. I can only give my opinion. I would have started Pepe and actually benched Aubameyang. That's just my opinion. He's been a bit awful of late. I've always been honest and said past few games I would have. I think also maybe it was a bit damaging when he pitched up late for the previous match, and the manager actually made a struggle.
We should it could just be.
No. I'm just saying maybe his mindset is, I was dropped. I'm the captain, so it was a big call from the manager. So obviously, we have to give respect and respect his decision.
Warren, I want to ask you about Odegaard's performance yesterday. I thought I'd seen sort of a steady sort of progress over the past couple of games. The more he's played, the better he's looked. And yesterday he was obviously stunning. Your thoughts on his performance? Is this the kind of player that we'd want to keep, that we'd want to buy at the end of the season?
Yeah, you made a very good comment now when you said that the more he plays, the the Betty is getting, and absolutely his best performance for Arsenal was yesterday's performance. By some distance, his best performance. The number 10 position for Arsenal, if we want to get into top 4, that number 10 position is absolutely make or break for us. So when someone asks me if he's going to be good enough or someone else is going to be good enough, I'm thinking, whatever team is in the top 4, we need to displace them. So give me a player that's going to be good enough in that number 10 position to get us there. So it's no use saying let's go top 4, but hold on. Someone must then drop out of the top 4. So when I look at the play, and especially in the number 10 position, that's absolutely critical. But on Odegaard specifically, he is looking like he's sort of getting used to the pace of the Premiership. His teammates. But it's definitely his best performance yesterday. I still want to give it until maybe the end of the season. I want to see him over a period of games.
Does he have to walk on water for you? Is that what you're saying? Before he walks on water, it's still not going to be good enough.
I mean, it's not about being good enough. I just want to be fair with him because, I mean, there were people saying he's not good enough after 2 games. And for me, that's not fair. Give him enough games. That's what I'm saying. Give him till there's 12 games minimum between now and the end of the season. That's a big call. It's not just a little, 45 minutes of brilliance. Let's sign him and let's spend 50 million. It's a big decision. You can't just click a finger and magically he's going to be by us. And it's not. All I'm saying is I want to be like more than sure. Like give him. He's going to be playing for us in any case until the end of the season. Give him more games so that you got more information to make a better decision. But certainly, I am liking a lot more what I'm seeing. So yesterday could very well be the breakthrough sort of moment for Odegaard.
Yeah, I have to ask Alex. I'm going to ask you now to just talk about another player whose future was of some concern, was up for some debate apparently. Mark, I apologize. We're going to sort of air some dirty laundry here now. We're going to talk because it's a big anti-Bellerin clan. And the cheerleader is here.
Do you want me to say something on that?
Could you comment? I'm going to ask Alex now. I just wanted to hear some of it first. So Alex, talk a little bit about Chambers' performance. Some people in the media have said he could be the replacement. A replacement should Bellerin leave end of the season.
It's early days though, isn't it? Yeah, I think he had a great game yesterday. So far as you could say, any defender had a great game when you've conceded 3 goals. I don't think any of them were particularly his fault, but he was great going forwards, wasn't he? The passing from Odegaard outside to Chambers. The delivery of the crosses though was the key thing for me with Chambers. His positioning and also his delivery was fantastic. That's what really caught everyone's eye, I think. It was refreshing because, let's face it, Hector Bellerin, and don't get me wrong, like Hector Bellerin as an actual person.
Did you use the word hate?
Is not.
Did you say hate?
Never questioned Bellerin's commitment to the club. What I do question is his actual ability. His positioning sense is terrible, and he can't. He's a very poor crosser of the ball, and that's just the facts, really. From what I saw from Chambers, much better at crossing the ball in one game than Bellerin has done all season, really. But
we have to take you through.
Is it going to be the answer though, Chambers? I don't really know. I think he needs a few more games, and then we'll see.
Okay, Mark, would you like to comment on this issue now? You said you'd be willing to comment on the Bellerin changes.
I think with both players, we've got to bear in mind the injuries that they've had. Very, very serious injuries. The sort of injury even 10 years ago, players didn't come back from at all. Hector, I think you're right. He's got such a great attitude. I think, he has lost a yard of pace, which was always his get out of jail card. And maybe he needs a new challenge. I think he might well go in the summer. But and I agree, his positional sense is not that great, but I'm not sure that Callum would be the guy to permanently fill in at fullback. I think Arteta's been quite clever in playing him against Burnley and West Ham. Both teams massive, all well over 6 foot. We needed some more cover aerially. Callum, you've got to remember as well, when Callum was at loan on Fulham, he got their player of the season, and he played defensive midfield then. And I think that's where Callum could be of benefit to the club, in that he can play at least 3 different roles. Defensive midfield, centre back or full back. I think at full back he's always going to get exposed pace wise if he gets a really fast winger. But both of them are really good guys. If Hector stays, I wouldn't particularly have a problem. Fullback is a tough position these days. I think it's probably.
Is there a chance that all of them want to stay, that Arteta would get rid of at least one anyway?
I think we're talking about transfers in, like Odegaard, people like that. The fact of the matter is, with the club's financial position, there's going to have to be people go out for any to come in. So I think if somebody came in with a decent bid for a player, Arsenal would seriously look at it. Because obviously they've got targets they want it to bring in the summer, but it really will need players to go out. The money is just not there. I think the last accounts came through, and they announcing a £46 million loss, and the Supporters Trust are estimating that for this year it's going to be 160 million loss. That is the realistic thing of the post-COVID world in football. It's not just going to be us, but we haven't got a sugar daddy. We haven't got Chelsea or Man City, just money to pump in no matter what.
Are you saying a sugar daddy or an oil daddy?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Or a criminal, but we can't say that.
Facebook and YouTube, we never said anything of the kind.
Yeah, no. Please edit that out. But my distaste for Chelsea Football Club is well known. It's what can I say?
Yeah, okay. So we'll leave it at that. Any guys, Brandon, any other players yesterday? I know you said you wanted Pepe to start and Aubameyang never to start again.
Not never to start. No. I didn't say never to start. I said in the previous show, I mentioned that I would drop Aubameyang for a couple of games. I mean, that...
like 20 or so.
Not like 20. Look, I think yesterday also that Luis looked a bit out of it. I would have started holding. I actually checked the stats for our centre backs, and we conceded less goals, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when Holding has played. And even Gabriel, Holding and Gabriel, that partnership, we conceded less goals. But Saka was okay. I was actually surprised that he recovered from the injury so soon. I was thinking he was going to be out for a couple of weeks because they said it was a hamstring. But I would definitely have started Pepe. That assist on his weaker foot, that was a brilliant cross from Pepe, and Lacazette just thundered that header into the far corner. And Pepe actually should have scored as well. I think there was a through ball from Odegaard. We should have sealed the game there. Yeah, we had so much chances in that second half. We started really opening them up, and they were actually high pressing us in the first half. We looked so lost. We couldn't even pass the ball out from the back. And I think also Leno's been another culprit of now recently. It's just been, maybe it's time to give Matt 1 or 2 games, because like I mentioned previously, what happens when Bernd Leno gets injured, and then Matt is going to be rusty, hasn't been playing. Because last year we were rotating. Yeah, last year we were rotating, remember, between Martinez and him. But Leno needs to work on his passing out from the back. He's putting the guys under pressure, and it's very uncalled for me. It's going to cost us a lot of games going forward. So he needs to iron out that. That's a mistake He's basically a
I just-
reminiscent of Louise.
Yeah, I just want to ask Warren quickly. Warren, the two youngsters we've been in the show. We've kind of been mad about. We've been going mad about the youngsters that came in from Smith Road and Saka and Tierney. How did they do yesterday? Are they looking a bit tired, a bit ragged? It's season. This is
Good point. Very good point, Morgan. The first one, Saka. I mean, my goodness me. I said it before. This guy's already on empty. We playing this guy way too much. I mean, I know there's objectives between now and the end of the season, but we've got a responsibility as well to look after them. And honestly, we're not. We've got so much experiences of the past, fantastic youngsters coming through, and we've just played these guys to the ground. You can actually physically see this guy's on empty. He's already on empty now. There's going back to some of the who's the other young, like Tierney. Tierney's also we don't have another left back at the club. The only other left back is out on loan, so the squad is a bit unbalanced. So we actually don't. So it means that we kind when the push comes to shove, we're gonna have to maybe play a Tierney perhaps when he's maybe not 100% already, considering he's had a lot of injury concerns when he came to us. So that's also a bit of a touch and go moment. I mean, and all these guys, you're more susceptible to a serious injury when you are overplayed. That's a human nature, physical science thing that is, you can't argue with that. And that is my biggest concern. We're one game away from a serious injury for these fantastic youngsters who I think is going to have great futures at Arsenal. And I'm worried about that. I've been saying it over and over again. The senior players are there and they should step in and take them and actually lead, not the youngsters. And I'm just worried. That is my biggest concern with the youngsters. They're doing fantastic. They've actually been our best players this season, but I'm worried about the amount of game time they're getting. We're just asking for trouble here.
Yeah, I want to ask Mark a question as well. Yeah, there's a certain issue about. Let me just see if I can get this up. We run the gamut of emotions here, of kind of go from this deep despair to profound optimism. And we're looking at we've got 8 of the last 10 games that we've been looking at left. Out of the 30 points we thought that were up for grabs 2 games ago, we've got 4 out of the 30 now. How many do you think we can grab in total from the last 8? How many points would you predict we'd get out of the last 8 games?
So it's nine games left, isn't there?
Sorry, I thought it's 2, 4, 6,
9 games.
8, 9. Yes, my apologies. My apologies. Lameez,
there's no need to apologise.
So of the 27 points.
So I think Liverpool is obviously a tough game, and Chelsea, but apart from that, I think we've got quite a good running. So I would be looking at 27 points, maybe 21. I think we could do 21 quite easily.
Yeah, Alex, you a couple of games ago said what, 15 in total? Sorry,
15. Yeah, I'd probably go with about 15 out of the remaining games. Out of those 9, probably.
You don't. Anyone else? Anyone want to go for a little bit more, Warren?
Between lowest 15, I'd expect maybe 18. Yeah, between 15 and 18.
Okay, and you'd expect us to finish how high? 9th or 10th?
Hell's bells. This season has been, it's not even. I mean, we could play like anyone. It actually doesn't even matter about the opposition. We could beat the best team on the planet tomorrow, and then play Fulham, and then draw 1-1, and then we're like wondering, well, hold on, what's going on here? But that's just where the season is. I mean, that's why we sort of in the middle of everything. We just cannot get any kind of consistency going. And that is the biggest thing. Brandon said it earlier as well. We just our own worst enemy. So it's like any game. You simply don't know. That's it's so difficult to make an
Okay.
actual, genuine, prediction.
Warren, when we have guests, could you not sigh so deeply and sadly, perhaps? That was a sad,
No.
teary sigh.
Yeah.
No, that's the whole thing. It's frustrating. It's just
Morgan-
frustrating because
Yeah.
I mean, can anyone honestly say how good this current team is? Can anyone actually say how good or bad this current team is? No one can answer that because we just give opposition goals every single game or an opportunity. Sometimes we get lucky when the other team doesn't take advantage of it. There was another stuff up between Leno and Louise yesterday. I don't know what they were doing, but we just give goals away. So it's like difficult to gauge them. Like, so how good is this team really? Are we really that bad that we're 9th and 10th?
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know because we are our own worst enemy.
Brandon, do you seeing that we are our own worst enemy? Do you think they are unlikely friends in the Merseyside teams, Liverpool and Everton, dropping points, and maybe allowing us a chance to sneak into 6th or 7th? Then maybe perhaps.
Yeah.
Would you be happy
I would
with
go
10?
with first. First of all, I think we can do 21 points. I'm just worried about the Liverpool and the Chelsea game. Chelsea's actually hit some form. Liverpool is still also touch and go. So I would have preferred to get Liverpool about a month ago when they were really, really, really poor. so
I think some.
be it as it may. I think we can actually look if we really can get end the season on a high and get or attain 21 points. It puts us something like 62 or something like 63 points end of the season. It's a very low tally. But like Warren said, the season is what it is. We have to look forward to the new season and hope we get in some new recruits. But I really feel that I think also Arteta sometimes, other supporters agree, the team selection leaves a lot to desire. Sometimes, for me, he just plays the wrong guys certain matches. And it actually shows in the results. I mean, when he brought Pepe on also, we injected also some more pace. Pepe was doing his runs on the wing. And basically, Aubameyang for the past few, I've been basically preaching this. Aubameyang has just been he hasn't been doing enough in the last few matches for me. So if I was the coach, that's my opinion, I would drop him because there's hungry guys. What has Martinelli done? I mean, he came on. I mean, he made a difference as well. I mean, just his desire, he's passionate. He hunts you down. He chases down the ball. So, I mean, he hasn't played in a while. I know he also came, like Mark mentioned, we had some players that came back from serious injury. So, I think they also were worried about him. He is young. So, you don't want to rush him back too soon. And, but I would start Martinelli in the next game, even against Liverpool.
Okay. So, that's a bold thing. Sorry, I know that the Liverpool game has been moved. Mark, we're going to end with a little game we like to play, and we measure people's confidence in the Arsenal team, and we do a little predictions game. We don't measure the faith we have in our team by people's fantasy team selections, because there are certain offenders on the show. Because Alex, I am not talking about you in general. I'm talking about you very specifically.
I think Alex seems to get loads of abuse on these calls. I don't think it's fair.
Thank you, Mark.
He sets himself up for
That's exactly what I think.
Mark,
Singling me out.
If I showed you his selection, his fantasy league selection, he dared to play 2 or 3 Spurs players on the weekend when he played Spurs. And despite the club having a ruling that on the week where we play in a specific team, you're not allowed to field players from that team in your fantasy team. And he's just,
I might be reconsidering my position, Alex. I don't know.
I see. It's like that.
it's like that. Lameez, shall we ask Mark for his predictions?
Yeah, let's go, Mark. So I'm very keen to hear. So I guess the question is, so besides the Liverpool prediction, we know then like 5 days later, we've got those quarterfinals in Europa. We've got a lot hanging on that. Do we actually go all out for the Liverpool game? Do we kind of say, we save ourselves and make sure we actually get all the way to the finals and win Europa? So I'd love to hear, what do you think we're going to do with Liverpool in terms of predictions? And then if you could give me the 2 predictions for our quarterfinals as well.
Yeah, so I think we'll beat Liverpool, maybe 2-1. And I think, going back to, it's been a theme through this conversation and through our whole season, this inconsistency, that we need to fight against that. So I don't think there's any point, and I don't think Mikel will accept us, prioritising Europa Cup over the league, no matter what. He will want them to fight till the end of the season. And I think if they don't show the right attitude, then he's strong enough that he will make the necessary decisions. So I think we'll beat Liverpool, and also I think we'll beat Prague. I think we'll beat Prague.
What scoreline in the first time?
What scoreline? Yeah, what scoreline for our first leg?
So the first leg's at home, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to be really outrageous and think we're going to keep a clean sheet for once. And I'll go 3-0.
Cool.
Okay.
And our second leg?
That will be a 1-1 draw.
Warren, you'd like that kind of scoreline?
Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Draw at home and win away. That's the way he goes.
He normally goes.
Yeah,
so let's hear Warren.
We're going to do it the hard way, aren't we? We're not going to do it easy. So maybe I'm talking absolute rubbish, and we'll lose at home and then win away.
So Slavia Prague. I mean, home game. Liverpool. Ooh, cool.
Liverpool
Goodness.
first. Liverpool.
Liverpool.
There's chin up. No sign. Chin up. Confidence.
Lot of goals. Yeah. The question is to who. I can see a 4-2. Yeah, a 4-2. 4-2 to the Gunners. To the Gunners. Arsenal.
Okay, there we go.
Lovely, Warren. Lovely.
Europa League. Okay, you said we're playing at home first. I think we're gonna make life difficult again. Also, that's the Arsenal way. It'll be a 1-1 draw at home, and then we're going to. I still get a feeling we're going to do a penalty shootout somewhere. So I'm going to go with a penalty shootout win in the second leg. That's going to happen sometime.
So
like a
1-1.
Yeah, and both, and then there's penalties after the 1-1.
Warren
in the
has
second
been
league.
penalties since
And
I think
what's
the
your-
start of the year.
And then
Sorry?
is your prediction still a win though after the penalty shootout? Warren?
Yeah, so we'll go through like 5-4 on penalties. It'll be like something close like that. Yeah.
We'll all be dead. The stress of it all will be too much.
That will be the
Warren is
Arsenal
looking
way.
to- Yeah, Warren is trying to put us through this.
Warren, I'm rapidly going off you.
So neither
Speak to me
Alex,
after the game. Speak to me after the game.
neither Warren or Alex are going to be invited to the next Arsenal Supporters Club meeting.
Yeah. This year, Brandon.
What
Okay.
looks like.
The Liverpool game, there's always goals in that game when we play Liverpool. So I'm going for a 3-2 Arsenal win at the Emirates. And then Slavia Prague, 3-2 win for the Arsenal. We won't keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, I doubt it. I was hopeful, but I don't think so. Slavia Prague, first leg, we're playing home at the Emirates. I think we'll beat them 2-1. And then we'll draw 1-1 the away leg.
A lot of 1-1s here.
Yeah,
We haven't had a 1-1 draw since forever.
it's like ever. Exactly. Okay, let's hear Alex. Was the 2-0? Let's hear.
Don't go 2-0, Paul.
Yeah.
The thing is with Liverpool, they've been really struggling to score, haven't they? Really recently, but then Jota's come back into the fold and he scores for fun. So 4-3. We'll win 4-3. There's my optimism.
Man, at least it's a win. We'll take the. Yeah, we'll take it.
Let me check my fantasy team.
5 Liverpool players in the side that day.
4-3. I think I'm going to go optimistic with Prague because I remember when we used to play in the Champions League, and I went to that 7-0 against them last time, and with that fresh in my mind,
it was 13 years ago. It was 13 or 14 years ago.
No, still, come on. I'm going to go with 6-0. 6-0.
Oh my word!
I'm going to go with 1-1 away.
To all the little children watching, do not play with kettlebells. This is what happens.
Is that 6-0 in the fantasy league game, or is it in real life?
It's in my fantasy head game, yeah.
X1 or something. Cheapest.
Yeah, I played it last night on FIFA and it's legit. Okay. It's going to happen. Make it happen.
Should I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, I'm going to go for a 3-1 win against Liverpool, a 3-0 win in the first leg against Prague, and then we'll skate by with a 2-1 win away from home. So we'll get by. It's going to be a tough second leg. So yeah, so we'll win the tie 5-1 on aggregate. That's See, people, when you have guests coming over, when you have people who don't often come to your house, you have to kind of show a certain. I'll change my prediction once he's over the show. Yeah, you don't fight when the guests are in the house. Okay, here we go. Lameez, your predictions.
Okay, for Liverpool, I'm going 3-1, and I'm actually going with an Odegaard brace because that's what I'm waiting for. I think it's going to happen soon.
Good call.
Yeah. Then for our first leg at home, I think we're going to go 4-0. And then for our away, I'm going to go 3-1 because that will give me the 7 goals that Alex keeps talking about. And I'm kind of on his page. I think we're going to see. No, not at all.
Okay. So just for the record, Ali, who is, as you may, as Warren's wife, she is also a bit cautious about the tie against Liverpool. We have Ujanja's prediction is a 3-2 win against. He's also got us winning. Okay, we're gonna beat Prague eventually. Ali is a little bit more optimistic about Europa League. It's not to say Champions League yet. Similarly, Craig, so there seems to be some optimism that we will get a couple of points and get into the next round of Europa League. Okay, I think that's it for now, Lameez.
Yes.
You get to do the farewells to our guest and the other suspects.
So firstly, I'll start with Mark. I must say to you, it's been an absolute privilege having you on the show this evening. I mean, just everything you've shared with us. It's been really great to hear things firsthand. I'm sure for everybody out there as well. So a big thank you from me, and of course the rest of the crew. And then of course our panelists, as always, they tend to bring a flair all of their own, and it's quite nice because all 3 of them are quite different, which also works really well. And then of course being the only girl, I must say it's not that difficult. The night was actually quite cool. It was really good. Not too much testosterone in this game. Felt it was quite equal, ladies and guys. And then Morgan, of course, always the perfect co-host. Thank you very much.
I hope you all heard what Lameez said, that between the 5 of us, we do not bring enough testosterone to make her feel out of place. I should summarize her words. Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. All the comments and the questions from the people watching the show on YouTube and Facebook. We've taken a 2-week break now, aren't we, Lameez? Sort of until
That's right.
yeah. Until we're gonna have a special. We're still discussing the logistics, but we're gonna have a special, our first kind of preview show just before the game on Saturday, the 3rd of April, when we're back, and we're gonna do it over lots of Portuguese. I don't know if Mark is familiar.
Crayfish.
Crayfish. Yeah.
Mark, I don't know if you've ever heard of Portuguese.
No,
It's
no.
Okay, because someone, Alex, you lived in Mitchell's Plain for a year, and now based in the UK. Maybe you can explain to Mark what Portuguese is. It's basically a braai in a pot. You instead of making a stew on your stove,
Fish stew, fish stew in a cast iron pot. Yeah, there we go.
Cast iron pot, yeah.
Cast iron pot. Let's not forget the cast iron pot little detail. So so
That
over
sounds
a
good.
past. Yeah, we're gonna have mussels and all kinds of other seafood and Easter eggs, of course, because we must. It's gonna be over the Easter weekend. We hope to
That sounds fantastic. I wish I was there.
Yes, you need to come.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. Just my sort of food, that. But I'd like to say what a pleasure it is to be on the call tonight, and more power to you guys. That I know all the work you put in to make Cape Town so successful, and I wish all supporters clubs were as dedicated as you guys, and I look forward to coming back on again at any time. Maybe let's have a party at the end of the season when we win the Europa Cup.
Here we go.
There we go.
And we can talk to all those.
We won't invite Alex if you don't mind.
And we can talk to all those Arteta out people then.
Hey.
Yeah, and Alex, stop all this Spurs malarkey.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do many push-ups. Come on.
Anyway,
But a great shirt, by the way, Alex. Great shirt.
Thanks.
Anyway, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the people watching the show. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Lameez, have I forgotten any other announcement other than I've announced the menu for the next show already, haven't I?
Yeah. Crayfish. That's all that counts. Lots of crayfish.
Lots of crayfish. Anyway, so everyone have a great evening. What? Sorry, someone.
Send me the recipe.
Yes, we'll do. Anyway, so lovely evening, everyone. We'll see you. Say
Thanks,
bye.
Morgan,
everyone.
Lameez.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers,
Yeah.
Mark.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cheers, Alex.
See you guys.
Nice
Up
seeing
the
you.
Gunners.
Cheers, man. Thanks, Mark.
Night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
Night. Cheers.
Okay.